The rain hit the metal roof like 1,000 tiny hammers. Ethan Cole sat inside his small workshop, fixing a broken drone under the dim yellow light. The storm outside had turned the forest dark and wild. Thunder growled across the sky, and wind pushed against the windows as if something wanted to come inside. Ethan didn't like storms. They always reminded him of the night he lost his wife in a shuttle crash 10 years ago. Since then, he had lived alone on the edge of the human colony on planet Varela 9, a world shared uneasily with alien races. He worked with machines because machines never broke your heart. But that night, something strange happened. A bright flash tore through the clouds. It wasn't lightning, it was brighter, sharper, and fell fast. Ethan stepped outside, shielding his eyes. Through the rain, he saw it. A small, glowing object crashing into the forest nearby. It hit the ground with a sound like cracking glass. Ethan froze. Another drone? He muttered, grabbing his flashlight. But deep inside, something told him this was different. He took his coat and walked into the storm. The mud sucked at his boots as he moved through the tall trees. The air smelled of burnt metal, and something sweet like flowers and fire mixed together. When he reached the crash site, he stopped breathing for a second. In the center of a small crater, smoke rose from a silver pod the size of a car. Its surface shimmered with strange blue symbols that shifted like living light. One side was cracked open, steam hissing out. Inside, someone was moving. Ethan lifted his flashlight and froze again. A girl crawled out of the pod. She looked young, maybe 16 or 17, but not human. Her skin had a faint purple glow, and her hair was silver white, falling like silk over her shoulders. Her eyes, large, shining, and golden, looked straight at him with fear and confusion. She stumbled, fell to her knees, and whispered, "Please, don't hurt me." Ethan's voice came out soft. "I'm not gonna hurt you." He stepped closer slowly. "Are you hurt?" She shook her head weakly. "No, just cold." "Please help me." Ethan took off his coat and wrapped it around her. She shivered but didn't resist. Her hands were shaking, her nails faintly glowing blue. When he touched her arm, her skin felt warm, almost electric. "What are you doing out here?" Ethan asked. The girl looked down, tears mixing with rain. "I was kicked out. By my stepmother. She said I'm defective." Her voice broke. "She told me never to come back." Ethan blinked, unsure if he heard right. "Your stepmother, you mean? From your world?" The girl nodded. "From the House of Vilin. My father was a commander. But after he died, she said I was a mistake. She took my name, my home. Everything." Ethan looked at the wrecked pod behind her, its lights fading. "You crash-landed here?" he asked. "Yes," she said softly. "I didn't know where else to go." Her golden eyes looked up at him, full of fear and hope. "Please, I just need a place to stay. Just for a night. Please, be my dad. I won't misbehave." Ethan froze. The words hit him like lightning. "Be my dad?" he repeated, almost whispering. The girl nodded again, tears shining in her eyes. "I can cook. I can fix things. I'll work. Just don't send me away." For a long moment, Ethan said nothing. The storm raged around them, thunder rumbling like the sky itself was watching. Finally, he sighed and nodded once. "All right," he said. "Let's get you inside before you freeze." She looked at him as if he had just saved her world. As they walked back to his cabin, Ethan couldn't stop thinking about the glowing marks on her skin, the strange hum coming from her body, and the feeling that this was not an accident. Something about her arrival felt planned, as if the universe had chosen this storm, this night, and this lonely man for a reason. And somewhere in the dark forest, unseen by either of them, a pair of red mechanical eyes watched them leave, silently recording everything. *, the storm had quieted by morning. The forest outside Ethan's cabin was wet and shining under the twin suns of Varela 9. Drops of rain still clung to the leaves, catching the light like tiny crystals. Inside, the smell of coffee and metal filled the air. Ethan sat at his workbench, pretending to focus on the broken drone in front of him. But his eyes kept drifting toward the small couch where the alien girl slept. She was curled up under a gray blanket, breathing softly, her silver hair glowing faintly in the morning light. He still couldn't believe it. An alien girl. Crashed out of nowhere, asking him to be her dad. Her pod had melted half the ground when it crashed. But inside he had found pieces of strange tech, nothing like human designs. He knew he should report it to the colony authorities. That was the rule. But something in him stopped every time he thought about it. Maybe it was the way she'd looked at him last night. Or maybe it was how alone she seemed. The girl stirred. Her eyes blinked open bright gold, almost too bright for the small cabin. She looked around, confused for a moment, then saw Ethan and smiled shyly. "Good morning," she said softly. Her voice was smooth but weak. Ethan nodded. "Morning. You slept almost 12 hours. She sat up slowly. "I haven't slept that long in. I don't know. I always had to stay alert." "From what?" Ethan asked. Her smile faded. "From her. From them." Ethan frowned. "You mean your stepmother?" The girl nodded. "She's not just cruel. She's powerful. She runs the House of Valen, one of the strongest families in the Empire. My father was supposed to protect me, but after he died in the war, she said I was unworthy of his name. She looked down. She wanted me gone. Said I carried human blood." Ethan froze. "Wait, human blood?" She nodded slowly. "My mother was human. That's why I'm different. That's why she hates me." Ethan leaned back, trying to process that. A half-human, half-alien girl from one of the Empire's ruling houses, crash-landing right next to his cabin. It didn't sound like coincidence anymore. "What's your name?" he asked quietly. She hesitated, then said, "Lyra. My name is Lyra Valen." Or it was. Ethan smiled a little. "All right, Lyra, you hungry?" Her face brightened. "Starving." He handed her a plate of toast and eggs. She looked at it like it was treasure, sniffed it carefully, then took a bite. Her eyes widened. "This is good," Ethan chuckled. "Just normal food, kid." Lyra smiled again, but something flickered in her eye sadness. "I haven't eaten normal food before. Everything at the palace was processed. Even emotions were processed." Ethan didn't ask what she meant. He just let her eat, but as she ate, something strange happened. The marks on her hands began to glow faintly. Ethan noticed the light shifting like flowing code under her skin. "What's that?" he asked. Lyra looked at her hands. "Oh, it's nothing. It happens when I'm full or happy. My father said it's the human side of me trying to adapt." Before Ethan could ask more, a sharp beep came from the corner of the room. He looked up. His old scanner had detected something outside. "Someone's out there," he muttered, moving to the window. Through the trees, he saw faint blue lights moving in the fog. Hovering, searching, Lyra's face turned pale. "They found me." Ethan turned sharply. "Who?" "The hunters. My stepmother's trackers. They follow energy trails. My pod wasn't fully destroyed." Ethan grabbed his rifle and motioned for her to stay quiet. "Stay down." But Lyra stood up instead, her eyes glowing brighter now. "If they find me, they'll kill you too. I should leave." "Not happening," Ethan said. "You're staying here." For a second, they stared at each other, the frightened alien girl and the stubborn human man. Then Ethan opened a secret hatch under the floor. "Hide in there. Don't make a sound." Lyra nodded and climbed inside. Ethan shut the hatch just as a loud bang echoed on the door. A mechanical voice spoke from outside. "Citizen Ethan Cole, we detected unauthorized technology on your property. Open the door." Ethan's heartbeat thundered in his chest. He gripped the rifle tighter, his finger brushing the trigger. "Guess I've got company," he whispered. And from under the floor, Lyra's voice came, soft and trembling. "Dad, please don't let them take me." Asterisk. The cabin shook under the force of the knock. Ethan's fingers tightened around his rifle. The voice outside sounded mechanical, calm, but too calm. The kind of calm that comes before violence. "Citizen Ethan Cole," the voice repeated. "You are harboring illegal technology. Open the door, or we will enter by force." Ethan glanced toward the floorboards where Lyra hid. He whispered, "Stay quiet, no matter what happens." Then he took a deep breath and opened the door. 3 figures stood in the rain. They weren't soldiers, not human ones anyway. Their armor was black and smooth, shaped like glass and bone. Their helmets glowed faintly blue, hiding their faces. Each held a weapon that hummed with soft energy. The tallest one stepped forward. "Ethan Cole," it said. "We're tracking a fugitive life form. A hybrid girl. She escaped containment. We have reason to believe she made contact here." Ethan forced a calm tone. "Haven't seen anyone like that. Only thing that came through last night was lightning." The hunter tilted its head. "You live near the crash zone." "Yeah," Ethan said. "Heard the explosion, but by the time I went out, whatever it was gone." The hunter paused. Its glowing eyes seemed to scan him. Ethan kept his heartbeat steady. Lying to aliens wasn't exactly in his comfort zone. Another hunter stepped forward, raising a small device. It beeped once, flashing red. "Energy residue detected," it said. Inside the structure. Ethan cursed silently. He'd forgotten Lyra's skin gave off that strange energy when she was scared or happy. The scanner must have picked it up. The lead hunter stepped closer. "Step aside, human." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Got a warrant for that?" He knew that meant nothing to them, but it bought a second of time. "Move," the hunter ordered. Before Ethan could reply, a sudden high-pitched hum filled the air. His drone, the one he had been fixing earlier, suddenly activated on its own. Its rotors spun fast, lights blinking red. Then it shot straight toward the hunters. "Get down!" Ethan shouted, diving aside. The drone exploded in a burst of sparks. Smoke filled the doorway. The hunters stumbled back, their sensors flickering from the interference. Ethan didn't waste the chance. He slammed the door shut, locked it, and rushed to the hatch. "Lyra! Out now!" Lyra climbed out, eyes glowing bright gold in fear. "What happened?" "They're here for you," Ethan said, grabbing a small pack of tools and an old communicator. "We have to go now." Lyra's voice trembled. "If they catch us, they won't," Ethan said firmly. "Not while I'm breathing." He pulled open the back door and led her into the rain. The forest was darker now, filled with mist and steam from the storm. Behind them, the hunters shouted something in a strange alien language. Ethan ran faster, boots splashing through the mud. Lyra followed silently, her bare feet barely touching the ground. She moved like a shadow. After a few minutes, they reached an old cargo tunnel hidden under the hills, a leftover from when humans first settled on Varela 9. Ethan led her inside. It smelled of dust and rusted metal, but it was safe, for now. They sat down, both breathing hard. Ethan turned to her. "You mind explaining why 3 armored death machines are hunting you?" Lyra looked away. "They're called enforcers. My stepmother sent them. She doesn't want me alive because I carry something. Something from my father." Ethan frowned. "Like what?" Lyra hesitated, then lifted her hand. The marks under her skin began to move again, glowing lines of gold. A holographic symbol appeared above her palm. an ancient crest surrounded by rotating code. "This," she whispered. "My father hid something inside me, a key to a weapon that can change everything." Ethan's eyes widened. "A weapon?" Lyra nodded. "Something your people were never meant to see. If she gets it, she'll start another war. That's why I ran." Silence filled the tunnel. Outside, faint footsteps echoed through the forest. The hunters searching again. Ethan finally spoke, his voice low and rough. "Then we better make sure she never finds you." Lyra looked at him, her golden eyes softening. "Why are you helping me? You don't even know me." Ethan stared into the dark tunnel ahead. "Because once, I lost someone I was supposed to protect. I'm not making that mistake twice." For the first time since the crash, Lyra smiled, small, shy, but real. "Thank you, Dad." Ethan didn't reply, but deep down, something in his chest, something long frozen, began to warm again. And far above, in the clouds of Varela 9, a large warship shifted its orbit. The hunt for the girl had just begun. The tunnel stretched deep under the hills, old and forgotten. Rusted pipes lined the walls, dripping water in slow, hollow beats. The air smelled of dust oil, and something ancient, like the past itself, had been sealed inside that. Ethan led the way, his flashlight cutting through the dark. Behind him, Lyra followed quietly, her golden eyes glowing softly. She didn't need the light. She could see through the dark like it was day. They had been walking for hours, hiding from the alien hunters. Every sound, a drop of water, a clank of metal, made Ethan's nerves twitch. He'd fought in wars before, but this was different. He wasn't fighting for a mission now. He was fighting for someone. They stopped near a broken junction. Old crates and machines were scattered around, half buried in sand and dirt. Ethan crouched, catching his breath. "We'll rest here for a bit," he said. Lyra sat beside him, hugging her knees. Her hair shimmered faintly, like moonlight trapped in silver threads. She whispered, "They won't stop until they find me." Ethan looked at her. "Then we'll make sure they don't." Lyra glanced at him, unsure. "You don't even know what I am." He gave a small smile. "I know enough. You're a kid who deserves a chance." For a moment, she said nothing. Then she smiled, a small, fragile smile that made her seem almost human. But the moment didn't last long. A faint pulse of blue light came from one of the broken machines nearby. Ethan turned his flashlight toward it. "What the hell is that?" Lyra stood up slowly. Her eyes widened. "Wait. That's Varellan tech. Ancient, from before the Empire." She approached it, her hand trembling. When she touched the surface, the light grew stronger. Lines of symbols appeared, circling her palm like they recognized her. Ethan stepped closer. "What's it doing?" Lyra didn't answer. Her marks were glowing again, reacting to the energy. The machine's screen flickered to life, projecting a faint hologram in the air. At first, it was static. Then, a face appeared. It was a man. Tall, with dark hair and golden eyes just like Lyra's. His uniform bore the crest she'd shown Ethan earlier, the symbol of the House of Velen. Lyra gasped. "Father." Ethan stared. "That's him?" Lyra nodded, tears glimmering. "He's been gone for years." The hologram spoke, its voice faint but steady. "If you're seeing this, my daughter, then I am gone. You carry inside you the key of Varela, the last piece of the code that can awaken the celestial engine. Your stepmother will do anything to claim it. You must not let her. The key is bound to your DNA. Only love, true love, not of power, can unlock it safely." The image flickered as the sound distorted. "Find the human world. Find someone who still remembers what it means to protect, not to rule. Only then will the key know peace." Then the light went out. Silence filled the tunnel again. Lyra stood frozen, her hands shaking. He knew. He wanted me to find a human. Ethan exhaled slowly. Sounds like he meant me. Lyra turned to him, eyes wide. Maybe he did. Before Ethan could respond, a sharp vibration ran through the tunnel walls. A deep metallic rumble followed, the kind that came from ships, not storms. Ethan frowned. They're scanning underground. Lyra grabbed his arm. They found us. The lights in the tunnel flickered. The air grew warmer, heat signatures moving above them. Ethan could hear faint mechanical whirs, then the screech of metal being cut open. Move! He shouted. They ran, the tunnel echoing with the sound of boots on steel. Behind them, the hunters broke through the ceiling, landing with heavy thuds. Their weapons glowed red this time, kill mode. Lyra looked back, panic in her voice. They're faster than before. Ethan pulled a lever on the wall. The tunnel door slammed shut behind them, cutting off the noise. Sparks flew, and dust rained from the ceiling. They reached an open chamber, a maintenance bay filled with forgotten vehicles. Ethan spotted an old transport skimmer half buried under a tarp. He grinned. Let's see if this old thing still has life. Lyra climbed in beside him. Her glowing marks pulsed as she touched the control panel. The skimmer hummed and then powered on, golden light spreading through its systems. Ethan stared at her. You did that? She smiled weakly. Guess I'm the key to more than one thing. The skimmer lifted, engines roaring. As they sped through the tunnels, Ethan glanced at her, the girl who called him Dad, glowing like a beacon in the dark. Somewhere deep inside, he knew her father's message wasn't just a warning. It was a prophecy, and it had just begun to unfold. The skimmer roared through the dark tunnel like a ghost come alive. Rusted signs and broken lights flashed past them in streaks of gold and silver. Ethan gripped the controls, eyes locked forward. The machine shook violently, but it held together, barely. Lyra sat beside him, holding onto the seat. Her glowing eyes reflected the flickering tunnel lights. How much longer? She shouted over the engine noise. Few more minutes, Ethan said, teeth clenched. There's an exit that leads to the old ridge. If we can reach it, we'll be out of range. Behind them, distant thuds echoed through the tunnel. The hunters were following, fast. Lyra's hands trembled. They won't stop, Ethan. They never stop. Ethan glanced at her. They will if I have anything to say about it. The skimmer shot out of the tunnel and burst into open air. Twin suns hung low in the sky, turning the rocky hills of Varelinine a deep orange red. The storm clouds were gone, replaced by the silent hum of wind and dust. Ethan pulled the skimmer behind a ridge and powered it down. The engines cooled with a hiss. For a moment, everything was quiet again. Too quiet. Lyra exhaled slowly, her shoulders trembling. Thank you. You saved me again. Ethan smiled faintly. Guess that's what dads are for. She looked at him, surprised, but smiling too. You really don't have to call yourself that. Yeah, he said softly, but maybe I want to. They both laughed quietly, a small, fragile laugh that broke the tension for a moment. But peace never lasted long on VIRLA-9. A sharp beep came from Ethan's communicator. A voice crackled through the static. Ethan, it's Marcus. You there? Ethan froze. Marcus was an old friend, another engineer who lived in the southern sector. He was one of the few humans Ethan trusted. He grabbed the communicator. Marcus, you've got no idea how good it is to hear you. You're alive, Marcus replied. We picked up an explosion near your workshop. What the hell happened? Long story, Ethan said. I need a place to lay low. I'm with someone, a girl. She's in danger. There was a pause on the line. Then Marcus said, come to the old refueling station. It's abandoned. I'll meet you there. Ethan sighed in relief. We're on our way. The refueling station sat at the edge of a dried lakebed, its metal towers half collapsed. Wind whistled through the empty structure as Ethan guided the skimmer in. He saw a small fire burning near the entrance. Marcus was there, waving. Ethan parked and stepped out, keeping a hand on his rifle. "Didn't think I'd ever see you again." Marcus grinned. "You always find trouble, don't you?" His eyes shifted to Lyra, who stood shyly behind Ethan. "And this must be the girl?" Lyra nodded slightly. "Hello." "Cute kid," Marcus said, his tone friendly. "Let's get inside." "You both look half dead." Inside, the place smelled of metal and dust. Marcus poured them water from a metal canteen. Ethan drank gratefully while Lyra explored the room quietly. For a moment, it felt safe again. Then Marcus spoke. "You know, the colony's been talking. Some alien ship entered orbit last night. They say it's from the Velen Empire." Ethan's chest tightened. "Yeah, we know." Marcus looked down, his voice turning cold. "You should have told me the truth, Ethan." Ethan froze. "What are you talking about?" Marcus stood up slowly. From his pocket, he pulled a small device, a tracker. The same red light blinked that the hunters used. Lyra gasped. You called them." Marcus sighed. "You don't understand. They offered protection, for me, for everyone here. That girl. She's dangerous, Ethan. She's carrying something that could destroy planets." Ethan's voice hardened. "She's a kid, Marcus." Marcus's expression twisted with regret. "Maybe, but they said if I handed her over, no one else would die." Before Ethan could move, the roof above them exploded. Metal rained down as 3 hunters dropped through the smoke. Their weapons glowed red. Lyra screamed. Ethan grabbed her and pulled her behind a pillar. "Run, Lyra." "Find a way out." Marcus shouted, "Ethan, please." "I didn't want it to go like this." "Then you shouldn't have sold us out." Ethan yelled back. The hunters fired. Blue plasma bolts sliced through the air. Ethan returned fire with his rifle, sparks lighting up the dark station. The sound was deafening. Lyra crouched behind a fallen beam, her hands shaking. Then, the markings on her skin began to burn with gold light. Her eyes turned brighter, glowing like molten fire. One of the hunters aimed at her. Lyra raised her hand. A blast of golden energy erupted from her palm, hitting the hunter square in the chest. The explosion sent it flying backward, armor melting like wax. Ethan looked at her in shock. "What the hell?" Lyra's voice trembled. "I didn't mean to. It just happened." The other hunters pulled back, recalibrating their weapons. Marcus stared at her in horror. "What is she?" Ethan didn't answer. He just grabbed Lyra's hand and ran for the exit. Behind them, the hunters regrouped. Marcus yelled after them, "They'll find you, Ethan. You can't protect her forever." Ethan didn't look back. His only words were cold and sharp. "Watch me." Outside, the suns dipped below the horizon, turning the sky blood red. As they vanished into the dunes, Lyra whispered, "I'm sorry, Dad." Ethan looked at her and shook his head. "Don't be. You're worth every fight." But in the shadows above them, high in orbit, the Velen warship opened its hangar doors, releasing a new kind of hunter. Faster and deadlier than before. The chase was far from over. The desert wind howled across the dunes, whispering through the jagged rocks. 2 figures moved under the red twilight, a man and a glowing girl, leaving footprints that shimmered faintly before the sand swallowed them. Ethan led the way, his rifle slung across his back, scanning the horizon for any sign of movement. His mind was still burning from Marcus's betrayal. His oldest friend, someone he'd trusted, had sold them out, but right now, trust wasn't the problem. Survival was. Lyra followed behind him, clutching the edges of her torn cloak. Her skin still pulsed with soft golden light, like embers cooling after a fire. She looked exhausted, pale and scared. Ethan finally stopped beside a cluster of rocks. "We'll rest here," he said quietly. Lyra sank to the ground, breathing hard. "I didn't mean to hurt them," she whispered. "I just wanted them to stop shooting." Ethan crouched beside her. "You saved us, Lyra. That's what matters." Her eyes filled with guilt. "But what I did, it didn't feel right. It felt like something inside me woke up, and it wanted to burn everything." Ethan frowned. "Your father's message said the key was inside you. Maybe that's what he meant. Whatever power you've got, it's connected to that weapon." Lyra hugged her knees. "I don't want to be a weapon." Ethan looked at her for a long moment. "Then don't be one," he said simply. "Be a person. You get to choose." She looked up at him, the human man who'd given her shelter, food, and a name to trust. "You really believe that?" "Yeah," Ethan said softly. "Because I stopped being a soldier once too. The day I stopped fighting for orders and started fighting for someone." She smiled faintly. "Your wife?" He hesitated. "Yeah, I lost her in a raid." She believed people could still be good, even in a universe full of war. "Guess I'm starting to believe that again." For a while, silence filled the desert. The twin moons rose slowly, casting a pale silver glow across the sand. Then Lyra's body trembled. The marks under her skin began to glow brighter, too bright. She gasped, grabbing her arms. "Ethan, it's happening again." Ethan rushed to her side. "What's wrong?" Her voice shook. "I can feel it, energy building up inside me. I can't stop it." Her hair lifted, glowing strands floating like threads of light. The sand around them began to swirl, pulled by invisible energy. Sparks jumped across the rocks. Ethan grabbed her shoulders. "Look at me, Lyra. You're okay. Just breathe." But her eyes had turned molten gold, pure light flooding from her pupils. A wave of energy blasted outward, knocking Ethan backward. The air rippled like heat above fire. For a moment, the world itself seemed to bend. Then silence. Lyra collapsed, unconscious. The glowing lines faded slowly from her skin, leaving her pale and still. Ethan crawled toward her, heart pounding. "Lyra, come on, kid." "Don't you dare," she stirred, her voice barely a whisper. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to." Ethan exhaled shakily. "It's all right. You're okay." He pulled her close, wrapping his jacket around her trembling body. As he held her, a small holographic screen flickered to life on his wrist communicator. A signal, faint, coded, and human. "Ethan Cole, if you're receiving this, we know you're with the hybrid. We can help. Coordinates attached. Come alone." Ethan stared at the message. It came from the Human Resistance, a hidden group that opposed both alien and corporate control of the colony. They were supposed to be gone years ago. He looked down at Lyra, still unconscious. Help could be real, or it could be another trap. Before he could decide, a shadow passed over the sand. He looked up, a drone. Sleek, black, silent. It hovered for a moment, scanning. Then it flew off toward the north. "They found us again," he muttered. He lifted Lyra gently, carrying her in his arms. "Hang on, kid. We're getting out of this." The journey to the coordinates took hours. By dawn, the desert gave way to jagged cliffs and a canyon that split open like a scar. Hidden in the rocks was a metal hatch, old, but powered. Ethan entered the access code from the message. The door slid open with a hiss. Inside, cool blue lights lined the long corridor. Human technology, but advanced. Someone had been living here for a long time. Ethan stepped in carefully, still holding Lyra. "Hello?" He called out. Footsteps echoed ahead. A figure appeared. A woman in a gray tactical suit, her eyes sharp and calculating. "Ethan Cole," she said. "We've been waiting for you." Ethan's grip tightened on his rifle. "Who the hell are you?" The woman smiled faintly. I'm Commander Rhea Solis, leader of the Resistance. And that girl in your arms, she's the key to saving us all. Ethan stared at her, speechless, but behind them, unseen in the shadows outside the canyon, 3 new hunters crouched silently, faster, smarter, and carrying orders straight from the Empress herself. The next move would decide who lived and who didn't. The door of the hidden base slid shut behind them with a heavy thud. Inside, the air was cool, humming with low energy lines that pulsed along the walls like veins. Ethan's boots echoed softly as he followed Commander Rhea through the dim corridor. Still carrying Lyra in his arms, Rhea led them into a round chamber filled with holographic screens and old computers. The Resistance insignia, a burning star inside a broken chain, glowed faintly on one wall. A few engineers and medics looked up as Ethan entered, their eyes wide with curiosity and fear. Lay her here, Rhea said, pointing to a medical pod. Ethan hesitated but obeyed. As he gently placed Lyra down, the medics rushed forward, scanning her glowing veins with cautious hands. Rhea crossed her arms. She's unstable. That energy inside her, it's building up faster than her body can handle. Ethan frowned. Can you help her? Maybe, Rhea said. If we can reach her neural core before it detonates. Ethan's stomach tightened. Detonates? Rhea's voice stayed calm, but her eyes were grim. If her power overloads, she could trigger the celestial engine her father built. It wouldn't just destroy this planet, it could erase everything within light years. Ethan stared at her, speechless. The room suddenly felt colder. You're saying the kid. She isn't just a kid, Rhea interrupted softly. She's a living weapon made from both human and alien DNA. Her father wanted her to bridge the 2 races, but her stepmother wants her to end them. Ethan looked at Lyra, the same girl who'd cried in the rain, who'd called him Dad in a shaking voice. She doesn't want this, he said. She just wants a home. Rhea nodded slowly. Then we need to make sure she survives long enough to have one. Hours passed. The medic stabilized Lyra with glowing energy fields, slowing her pulse. Ethan never left her side. He watched her chest rise and fall, her small hands trembling even in sleep. He remembered the first time he'd seen her, lost, afraid, begging him not to send her away. Now she was the center of a war she didn't even start. Rhea approached quietly. Ethan, we found something in her pod. A message fragment from her father. Ethan stood. Show me. A hologram flickered to life, the same man as before, but this time his tone was urgent. To whoever finds my daughter, her power will one day awaken, and she will not be able to stop it alone. The only thing that can control it is love. She must feel safe, protected, human. That bond will keep the engine from consuming her. The image faded. Ethan stared at the empty air, his throat tight. She doesn't need a weapon, he whispered. She needs a family. Before Rhea could respond, alarms blared through the base. Red lights flashed across the walls. Perimeter breach. Someone shouted. 3 Enforcer units inbound. They found us. Rhea cursed and grabbed her blaster. Positions now. Ethan's heart pounded. He turned to Lyra. Her eyes were opening, golden and glowing brighter than ever. Ethan, she whispered weakly. They're here. He took her hand. I'm not letting them take you. Not now, not ever. The walls shook as the first explosion hit. Dust rained from the ceiling. The Enforcers stormed in, weapons blazing. Resistance fighters returned fire, but they were outnumbered. Rhea shouted over the chaos. Get her to the core chamber. It's shielded. Ethan lifted Lyra and ran down the corridor as blasts lit up the hall behind them. The world was shaking apart, metal groaning, alarms screaming. He reached the core room and sealed the door. Inside, The chamber glowed with a massive crystal engine, the power heart of the base. Lyra's markings flared like fire. Ethan, I can feel it. I can stop them. No, Ethan said sharply. You'll burn yourself out. Her eyes met his, shining, desperate. If I don't, they'll kill everyone. Tears burned in Ethan's eyes. Lyra, listen to me. You're not a weapon. You're my daughter, and I'm not losing you. She smiled weakly. Then let me protect you, just once. Before he could stop her, she stepped forward, placing her hands on the core. The light engulfed her. Energy roared through the room. Blinding, beautiful, terrifying. The enforcers outside froze mid-step as golden waves spread out, disarming their weapons, melting their circuits, but Lyra screamed. The power was too much. Ethan ran to her, grabbing her shoulders. Lyra, look at me. Her eyes glowed like stars. Dad. I'm scared. He pulled her close, holding her as the light surrounded them both. It's okay, kid. I've got you. The light grew brighter, then burst outward in silence. When the light faded, the battle was over. The enforcers were gone, their armor turned to dust. The base was half destroyed, but quiet. Ethan lay on the floor, covered in dust, blinking through the smoke. Lyra? He whispered. She was there, alive, breathing, but different. The glow had faded. Her skin was normal again. Her power was gone. Rhea limped into the room, staring at the damage. You did it. She neutralized the engine. It's over. Ethan smiled weakly, brushing a tear from Lyra's cheek. No, she did it. Lyra stirred, her voice small. Did I do good, Dad? Ethan laughed softly. You did perfect. Outside, the first rays of morning sunlight broke over the canyon, golden and warm, like a new beginning. And for the first time, Lyra wasn't a weapon, or a fugitive, or a child running from pain. She was home.